Hello everyone, it's 2009 here, and welcome to part 7 of Thomas and Friends What Ifs, where I go through your comments to give you my thoughts. The first one is Marion Driscoll, who asked quite a few. Sorry it's not quite part 4 by the way. Starting with some Diesel 10 ones. The first one was, what if Neil Crone voiced Diesel 10 in the US dub, The Misty Island Rescue, Day of the Diesels and the Missing Christmas Decorations? I think the whole fandom would have been really excited by this. It would make Diesel 10's return in Misty Island Rescue even more special. But if it was only the US dub, it would have been a bit strange. The second one was, what if Diesel 10 replaced Diesel's role from Series 20 to Series 23? Both Diesel and the Ducklings, the Big Freeze, and Diesel Goes Away. I'd be happy with any more Diesel 10 appearances. He just ceased to exist after 2013. However, I think Springtime to Diesel was a very good conclusion for Diesel's story, and he definitely needed to make his appearances up until then, because now he has a full character arc. But after that, I can see Diesel 10 making a big return to the Bubba era, now that Diesel's character arc is complete. The third one was, what if P.T. Boomer was Diesel 10's owner in Magic Railroad, giving the two villains a family connection? For some reason, between the gap of the Director's Cut Chase and the full Director's Cut being released, I always thought this was the case, but I think this should have happened. This could have been the reason why Burnett and Boomer fell out, and this could have given a deeper meaning as to why Diesel 10 tried to destroy Lady. The fourth one was, what if Jim Carrey voiced Diesel 10 in Thomas the Magic Railroad? No, he's just too goofy and not very villain-like. He was great at Robotnik in the Sonic movies, but Robotnik was a much goofier villain to Diesel 10. I really do not think this would work. Now for some other ones. The fifth one is, what if Michael Rosen narrated Series 22 to 24? I think Michael Rosen would have been a really good narrator, but perhaps not for the Bubba era. Maybe in the Hit era he would have been good, but Bubba just seems a bit too fast-paced and energetic for his style of voice. The sixth one was, what if Tidmouth Sheds was rebuilt again in Season 22 for Nia and Rebecca? Fans would have been a lot less disappointed by this because they wouldn't have to kick out Edward and Henry. I suppose the gender ratio wouldn't be perfect, so why not make it 11 births to add Molly and Rosie? The seventh one was, what if Thomas and Percy left Tidmouth Sheds instead of Edward and Henry to sleep at the Branchline Sheds with Toby? This would defeat the whole purpose of the Steam Team without the main character being in it. I suppose this would be more Railway series accurate, but everyone, especially younger children, would be very confused by this change. The eighth one was, what if Tim Curry voiced Diesel 10 in Season 13 to 24? Perfect! I've never even thought of this until now, but Tim Curry would be the perfect voice for Diesel. Yes, please! The ninth one was, what if the UK voice actors in the Railway Adventures PC game voiced the characters in the classic series? I suppose this could work. The game had Michelangelo, so maybe. It would be strange switching from one voice actor to 3 though. The 10th one was, what if the voice actors from Series 13 to 18 continued voicing the characters for the rest of Series 19 to 24? In my opinion, the new voice actors were a lot better, and if the old one voice cast stayed, and John Hassler never voiced as Thomas, then there would unfortunately be no Arnold memes.
Well, I didn't really do anything.
Liam the Transformers fan asked, what if Thomas and Friends switched to 2D animation instead of CGI in 2009? Everyone would have been furious by this. The main reason as to why I'm okay with CGI Thomas is that the whole world looked like it did in the model series, but if the show went straight to 2D, then I suppose the switch to Origins Go wouldn't be that bad. Dockyard Studios asked 3. The first one was, what if the Hit era continued? If Thomas stayed in the model hybrid CGI format? I don't think people would have been too happy about this because it looked kind of terrible. But if the show continued hybrid or just models, the writing would eventually fall to what it was in the Nitrogen era. The show would eventually feel old and outdated with all of the other Hit Entertainment shows having switched to CGI already, but I definitely would have preferred it this way. The second one was, what if the show ended after the Bubba special? This would have been one of the worst places for the show to end. A, the movie sucked. B, the film was the start of a new era to Thomas. It really does not feel like a finale whatsoever. The third one was, what if the show continued after Thomas and the Royal Engine? The Thomas theorist did a great video explaining what a 25th series would look like. I tried to remember to leave a link in the description, but I'll probably forget. If I do, please remind me. At some point I want to make a video about what I do if I own the rights to Thomas, and then I'll explain fully then. In my Q&A video, Sprite Productions asked a what if question in his comment. So now I'll answer it. What if Thomas is still airing on PBS Kids instead of Nick Jr.? My favourite part about Thomas on PBS Kids is how they blocked it. Today on the Island of Sodor, 2 or 3 episodes of a song or learning segments in between, but by the time Wubba era, Today on the Island of Sodor would be read by Joseph Mayers Thomas, the same for All Engines Go. The next one is from G Fuel Monster, who asked, what if Frank Welker voiced Diesel 10 in Tatmar instead of Neil Crone? I think Neil Crone was a pretty perfect voice for Diesel 10, but I'm not too sure about Fred voicing Diesel 10. Gunnar D asked, what if the last episode of Series 1 was double length? This would have set a norm for the season finale of each series to be double length. I don't think this would change the episode Thomas's Christmas Party that much though. George Roberts asked, what if Dennis, Splatter and Dodge appeared in Day of the Diesels instead of Paxton, Sidney and Norman? I would love to have seen these characters again. We would definitely get Take and Play toys of Splatter and Dodge, which I would definitely like to see. And also I just absolutely love Dennis. Rusty Red Scrap Iron Studios asked, for part 4, sorry it's not quite part 4, 2 questions. The first one being, what if some of the hit era characters like Molly, Hank, Dennis, Neville and Billy made more appearances in the show? I would love to have seen this. Every single new character in the hit era deserved more appearances. I would love to have seen full character arcs for these characters. Dennis and Billy had theirs completed in the single episodes that they appeared in, but characters like Flora really deserve more. The second one was, what if Stanley the Mid-Sodor engine was in the TV series? The crew would need to have built a new prop instead of repainting Rheneas. The main problem here is the error from the Railway series would carry over. You see, Stanley was built in 1917, and he was supposed to be on Sodor before Falcon arrived in 1904. And most importantly, there would be no smudger memes. Wild Starfish asked, what if Ringo Starr recorded the US dub while he was doing the UK dub instead of Shining Time Station? Or at very least made 2 new VHSs or even DVDs to cover the 12 episodes of the first 2 seasons he never got a chance to narrate for the US. If this happened, the TV series would come to the UK and the US at the same time, with every single episode being released in both dubs. But without Shining Time, Magic Railroad would never have happened. The Scarlet Railway Studios asked, what if Thomas ended after Taylor the Brave? This would have been a fantastic endpoint for the show, especially Percy's quote at the end. The end song would have ruined it though. George Roberts asked, what if All Engines Go never happened after the original show ended after Series 24? This wouldn't affect the original show because it had already ended. And to be honest, I would just rather if All Engines Go never happened. Perhaps we could get more merchandise for the Series 24 characters. I mean, where's my Trackmaster Pusher on Cleo? Thomas Fan Greatest Stories asked, what if Thomas got one more series before All Engines Go? This wouldn't affect anything too much. I would love to have seen a 25th series. But if this happened, and All Engines Go still got cancelled this year, we would likely only have 3 series of All Engines Go. The last one for today is from Lennon Thomas and Fireman Sam Lover Forever, who asked, what if the Railway series kept going? Wilburs had run out of ideas when he finished, but Christopher definitely had a lot more. After 2011, we could have seen Barry the Rescue Engine published, but Thomas would probably have to be in the title. Thomas and Barry the Rescue Engine, perhaps? All of the books would have to be about Thomas, or at least feature him. Christopher's ideas would have to have been reworked, and he too would eventually have run out of ideas. The other one from Lennon was, what would I do if I could make the new Mark Forster movie? This could be the Adventures of Thomas movie, but it would really need reworking. What I'd probably do was make a theatrical version of the first few books, probably even word for word. This would be my attempt at trying to reboot Thomas, but if I had full power over Thomas, that wouldn't be what I would do. I would explain more in my future What If I Had the Rights to Thomas and Friends video. And that is everything for today. Again, if your comment wasn't featured, it will be in a later video. I'm trying to make these videos longer so I can fit more in. And with that, I want to thank all of you for watching, see you in the next video, and goodbye for now.